Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're currently looking at a substantial pump with Terra Classic, around 133% on the day, moving upwards. This is pretty significant. I can imagine a lot of people are running around like headless turkeys. They're kind of wondering what's going on. Why is the price moving? And honestly, I don't think there's one singular thing that could explain this. It's cause and effect, really. There was a guy who wore a t-shirt yesterday, and people just seem to be infatuated with the idea that this guy was actually wearing a Terra Classic shirt, and he wasn't. He was just wearing a Terra shirt. It was one of the last shirts that TFL actually released under their branding campaign back in May 2022. So realistically, like I said, this pump, if it is to do with one singular thing, it's not realistically good. In the short term, yeah, it's brilliant. 132%. This is exactly what you want to see, but the overall market isn't moving with it. The fear and greed index isn't moving with it. BTC is not moving with it. Nothing else is moving with it. And what we normally see in situations like this is a lot of people will take profits. And then once the market does start to go back upwards, well, likelihood is we're going to go down, the market will go up, and we'll kind of stabilize out before we do intend on moving up again. Just flicking over to the fear and greed index, there is a little bit of a rise. We're looking at fear 28 at the moment, which is up from around that 25 to 26 zone. This is kind of what you want to see. It's a glimpse of the future, if you will. Maybe the market is going to start to move upwards, and maybe LUNC is kind of giving this early waving signal that, hey, there's a market pump on the way. You guys should really begin to prepare, and I am your signal. The bottom line really is here, you guys, the overall market isn't moving with us. And from my understanding, over the past 4 years, this is actually a bearish short-term indication that, yeah, we're going to see a pump now, but there's likely going to be a substantial dump to match that in the future. And what I want to do is go over and really do some technical analysis with everybody, take a look at the chart itself, and I'll give you my explainer as to why I think we're actually going to see a huge dump on the back end of this massive green candle. And I'm indicating this basically off of the historical data that is readily available. And every single pump before this has always breached out at a certain point. We can see 3 areas previously, and this is a day chart. You're looking at the overall day view. You can see there's 3 attempts here to push up above this descending trend line. So let's flick back to today's current view, and something you need to understand is the reason why we keep getting these big pushes upwards and then a ton of sell pressure where we hit this descending trend line is because this is exactly what all of the validators have been waiting for. Ones that don't develop just sit there, they talk a lot of nonsense, they merely run a validator and provide nothing else to the ecosystem. They do not have to spend any of their funds. So they're waiting for this opportunity. So people like Allnodes, for example, are going to be waiting for this opportunity to sell as much of their LUNC and USTC that is regularly available for them since that last push upwards. And that is really where all of this sell pressure comes from. And as you can see, we are bouncing out right now on that descending trend line. So what does this tell us? We are conforming to pattern. We are conforming to the exact same things we have each and every time one of these big green candles come in. And that is a ton of sell pressure exists because there are so many coins that are made regularly available to people that are not spending them on the ecosystem. So these funds are simply not going back into the chain. Instead, they're likely going off to a CEX, they're being sold for fiat, and they're likely being invested in something else that's going to go upwards when the market does eventually go green. And each and every time the market goes green, and we've been pumping previously, yes, we start to go downwards because people have already made gains here. They're looking at the technical data, they're seeing the descending trend line, and they are also themselves conforming to pattern. And then this all falls on the idea, right, of user retention. We have very little to no concept on how to retain users as an ecosystem. On top of that, you have a ton of sell pressure from validators that are being funded by everyday LUNC delegates, and they're merely just selling out on you because they're not developing anything. They have no connection to this blockchain other than the validator that they harness to make money. And you guys are simply being offered a secret plan. Now, looking at the short-term perspective here, and what I want to do is just get my brush up again. Let's go back a little bit. Let's get rid of that. And what we can see here is a clear punch. And what I mean by a punch is you've literally hit out on 2 resistance areas, meaning that we've hit a line of resistance here. not just in this descending trend line, but in our most recent pattern that has played out. And again, this bounce, if we don't push above this area, we don't hold above this area, right? It means that there is a ton of sell pressure. Now, let's say, for example, I'm completely wrong. All of the validators are here out of the goodness of their heart. They're not going to sell out on you guys. There is a secret plan, as they say, and everything is going to work out. Well, then the likelihood is you'll get a push above this area and you will hold, meaning that no one is really selling and everybody thinks there are more gains to be gotten here. So this all becomes user psychology, investor psychology, trading psychology, whatever you want. But the TNA side of this is not looking good. And again, you guys probably want me to be all happy and glee and smiley as everybody is every month when Binance burns, but I know what's coming. I know that we've been through this many different times before, and the pumps are getting smaller, they're getting further apart, and they're getting weaker. And this is all a clear indication that our chain is struggling. And the fact, right, that people believe that this pump is because a guy wore a t-shirt to a Bitcoin event. We have so many different things going on. We have so many things this chain has to offer. The burning is off a scale in terms of what we actually remove from the supply compared to what they're removing from the SHIB supply. Our supplies are far lower. We've done far more. But guess what? Everybody just wants to be excited about a t-shirt. People want to believe in secret stories. And everybody wants to think that everything is absolutely A-okay. And it's not. Beware of this pattern that's playing out. It's going to trade very, very, very unusually. But yeah, I'll update you guys on this. We'll track this and hopefully I'm wrong. I don't want to be right in this situation. What benefit is there to being right? Nothing other than a massive price crunch coming in and the chain failing to push upwards once again. This is not what any of us wants. What we need is the right validators being supported in the ecosystem, because otherwise, as these price crashes come in, guess what? Validators are going to leave. And I've already said this once. I will have to shut down my validator in order to save Lunkdash, a non-profit model. And that in itself is very, very sad, because of the fact that you can run a validator, you can do nothing, you can just get loads of support based on Millie just talking on X. But cause and effect, my friends, cause and effect. And this is the end result. You can put in all of the time, work, energy, effort. You can invest up to £250,000 of your own money. You can develop technology that everybody is going to harness and use, right? You can do all of these amazing things, but other validators can do simply nothing and get tons of support. Cause and effect. Stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And I'm going to catch you in the next one.